Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now listen, on a Monday, sometimes it's a bit tough to get over the hump of the weekend and hit reality that, yes, we have to go back to the goodness. But today is Mental Health Awareness Month, at least in October. And today on this Monday, we're zooming into the smallest moments with the biggest impact. And we're talking about Daily Glimmers. It's Bridget McNulty's new pocket-sized guide to noticing 3-second sparks of joy in everyday life, and now is following its September launch.
Yeah, now the book gathers more than 1,000 simple prompts and practices to shift mood and build resilience. Now, from the commute to the kitchen sink. So Bridget joins us to unpack the idea of glimmers and why they work, and also how to start seeing more of them right now, today.
Yes.
And of course, she's looking absolutely radiating, glimmering and shining in green. Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm great. I'm so happy to be here, thank you.
Oh my gosh, you are a glimmer of joy in and of yourself.
Yes,
Come on.
I love this.
I'm here for it.
I love me a sequin.
I love a sequence on you too. All right, Bridget, let's get into this. For
Yes.
somebody hearing this term for the first time, glimmering or glimmer, can you break it down and tell us, how does one notice it every single day?
And it's not just your dress, right?
Yeah.
It's not just sequins, it's for people who don't wear sequins too. So glimmers are tiny micro moments of joy. So they're these 3-second slices of joy that regulate your nervous system. And I think that's the really important part. It can be easy when you see someone wearing sequins to think that it's something kind of frothy and silly, but actually glimmers regulate our nervous systems, they calm us down, they give us a pause in every day. And they're often referenced as the opposite of triggers. So triggers are something that give you like a brief negative response. This is something that gives you a brief positive response.
I like
That's a
that.
great way to frame it.
Yeah.
Include more of those triggers in our lives, or more of those buttons in our lives.
Yeah, let's do the glimmer button rather than the trigger button.
Yes, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So there's something quite cool that I'm trying to like rationalize in my own mind, and I don't know how you would call it, but maybe reference it like micro joys, and you've got thousands of them in the book, actually like 1,000 to maybe be specific.
Yeah.
How did you incorporate that actually? Because that's quite a bit of like variation. How did you not repeat yourself? And what was the incentive and the idea behind that actually?
So funnily enough, it came from my previous book, The Grief Handbook, A Guide Through the Worst Days of Your Life.
Sure.
And I included a section in there on slices of joy, and it was the one section that everyone really wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And so then I started writing a list of 1,001 slices of joy and expanded them, and now there's a thought for every day. So that's the idea, that every day there's one small glimmer that you focus on, and it gives you something just to shift your perspective for the day. There was a lot of repetition.
Okay.
Back scratches, cups of tea.
Yes.
But we need that to reinforce consistency as
No,
well.
I just had to get a little more creative.
Yeah.
So now there's a different theme for everyone.
Good.
Can we talk about it in terms of like an example? Do you have something that references exactly that? Because I think the minute Mzansi hears this, they're going to be like, oh, I get it now. This makes sense.
So it was tricky to try and find one example because there's literally
I know, you had to find, like, the best one.
365. Yeah, no, I couldn't find the best one, so I just chose the one for today.
Okay.
So the way the book's set up, also, is it not the most
It is
beautiful
the
book you have
best.
ever seen?
I am obsessed with the cover alone.
So the way it's set up is that there's different themes for every month you enter depending on the season. So today's, and I just want to say before I start reading it, in case you're thinking that it's something like big and dramatic, we're not looking for extraordinary or wonderful or amazing. We're just looking for, oh, that's quite nice. Like the idea is to have a very low bar for delight. So today's is washing your hair. That slightly gritty, greasy feeling when you know it's time to wash your hair, and that glorious sudsing and washing away of dust and grime, leaving you with squeaky clean hair. One of the fastest routes to feeling better, even if it only lasts a few minutes. Similar glimmers, a fresh towel after a bath or shower, hugging someone you love who you haven't seen for a long time. So it's really like heroing the beautiful ordinary. There are all these tiny little moments in our lives, all of us, no matter who we are, and they're right there, we just aren't used to noticing them.
It really is about the little things.
Yeah.
And I feel like since I've incorporated that into my life, like my baseline has shifted.
Yeah.
Like I'm so much happier because I'm noticing these things that I wouldn't otherwise. Last night, I was dreading washing my hair, I'm not gonna lie. But as soon as I got in the shower, it was a moment of just like self-care, taking care of me. And I was like, yes, this is glorious. This is the glimmer that I need every single day.
I feel you, yeah.
So give us your favorite glimmer. You've mentioned a couple there.
So
I would love to hear from you.
It's so interesting because I think it's helpful to have some that are kind of in your back pocket for days that are hard, because that's the other thing, is that this is often a practice that is necessary when things are hard and difficult.
Inevitably, yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite of every single day, one of my favorites is that first sip of tea in the morning. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's that moment of like pause and calm.
Yeah.
And I think it's so lovely. The way that you start the day often reflects through the rest of the day.
100%.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And so, would you say that the polarity comes through with regards to the book you wrote previously, in terms of allowing this one to kind of shine through, finding those silver linings, finding these moments to be grateful, finding opportunities to practice gratitude, which I think is something quite important in this day and age. I hear it a lot in these conversations of people that are finding ways to overcome and rise up against crazy adversity. So what would you say is that sort of polarity? Is that the fuel for it as well?
So I think it's important to say that this isn't about toxic positivity. It's not about saying like, oh, your life is so hard, but come on, put on a happy face,
Have a
smile
sip
for
of
the
tea.
camera. Yeah.
This is about being real, right?
It's very much about being real. It's about saying, and this is how it relates to the previous book, is that when you're in grief or when life is authentically difficult, you can't reach for excitement and enthusiasm and happiness. That's just, it's too much to ask for because you're feeling so awful.
Sure, yeah.
But there are these tiny moments scattered throughout the day that make you feel just a little bit better for a couple of seconds. They don't fix everything, they don't solve anything, but they make you feel just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when people have been through grief and then they hear that I've written a book about Glimmers, they're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense, because they're kind of the two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Because it's the worst thing that can happen to you, and then the fact that even when the worst thing happens to you, there are these moments every day that provide us with hope and give us just a second's reprieve.
Sure, and sometimes those worst things that happen to us are necessary to bring out the best in us.
Yeah.
So
You don't know how
inevitable
strong you
change.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The duality of being and the glimmers in between. We absolutely love to see it. And we don't only get to experience the beauty of this book, but listen, Expresso family, of course, has something in it for you as well. Now, we're giving away one copy of Daily Glimmers by Miss Bridget over here to one lucky viewer. All you have to do is answer this one question. What tiny glimmer lifted your mood this morning? And I'm sure there are a couple of them. Just pick one and then let us know on our social media pages before 3 p.m. today. Terms and conditions, of course, apply, but you can visit expressoshow.com for more.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes. Mzansi, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Monday, and I'm telling you right now, it doesn't feel like anything of it. There's no blueness going around. We're just elevating the mood. And earlier, we defined glimmers. And now I want to take a bit of a page out of this book and make it into a habit. And everything from design choices to daily rhythm. Daily Glimmers is built for tiny wins that add up. Kind of like that thing we call consistency. And Bridget is still with us to show how to weave micro joy into real life without adding unnecessary pressure.
Okay, so let's continue unpacking this. In the ad break, Raul, you actually asked a great question about how does one use this book? Because the structure of it is set up a little bit differently. And in our busy lives, like you said, you want just like bite sizes to get us through. So if I bought this, how am I using it?
So you can read it any way you like. I'm not going to tell you how you have to read your book, but the intention with it is that I'd read so many books that changed my life, and then a month or two later, I was like, what was it exactly that changed my life? And so I wanted this to be different in that the intention is that it sits by your bedside, it sits on your desk, and you read one of the paragraphs a day. They're super short. It'll take you 2 or 3 minutes while you're having a cup of tea or coffee, and we specifically made it so beautiful so that you would want it to be on display. Like, this isn't a book you need on a Kindle, this is something you want in real life. And what happens is that as you build this habit with this consistency, you read a glimmer in the morning instead of reading the news, and it sets your intention up for the day and it sets your attention up for the day to be able to notice things differently. And these are tiny little micro changes. It's not that you're suddenly gonna like burst into song mid-morning. It's that the glimmers are all around you anyway. Our lives are filled with them, but we're so busy and we're on our phones all the time that we don't notice. And if you just prime your attention to starting to look for glimmers, you'll see that they're actually all around you and your life is much more beautiful than you thought.
Oh, that's so cool. So we actually enticed Mzansi to look around for their own glimmers and mention it to us. And we asked the question this morning about what were some of the moments that recently reminded you that life can be soft and beautiful, and what were some of those glimmers? And we've got some crazy comments that we wanted to share with you, Bridget,
Great.
just to show you the impact of this thought and this intention. So Namabana comes through, and this is a top fan of ours. I had a beautiful moment recently when I was out in nature. It reminded me of how life can be soft and beautiful. It's amazing how those tiny moments can make such a big difference in our lives. Nama.
Love that.
A girl after your own heart. I love that. Roxy, what do you have to say? She basically said that I recently took my youngest daughter to a play area, and I was watching her from the window, and I witnessed her being kind to the next kid who was struggling. That made me smile. She is literally just 7 years old. That's coming from a proud mama. Oh, Roxy.
I love it. We've got more comments coming through. We've got Tokozani TK Piri says, good morning, team. The moment that reminded me that life can be soft and beautiful is always when I look at my daughter.
Love
oh, come
that.
on now.
And my heart is custard right now. Sue also says, good morning, family. Definitely tiny hugs and kisses from my small people. They give you hugs to your very soul, and that moment you realize God is always, always in control.
Hey, maybe we should get kids, huh?
I think that's next on the agenda. My goodness. All right.
But
But not only if you have kids. Plenty of glimmers if you don't have kids too, I promise.
No, and this is something I wanted to talk about as well, is the fact that you allowed us kids as well. And for me, I feel like a kid sometimes when I read a book, because I've been traumatized by words in school and in varsity. Honestly. So I love the fact that you have included things like these drawings and line diagrams, which make it so much easier to engage and process information that sometimes words can't express. Was this intentional though?
Very intentional.
Yeah?
So I published the book in the UK first, and then in South Africa it's published by Penguin in South Africa. And in my contract, I said that the illustrator had to be Lauren Fowler. She's a Cape Town illustrator. She's amazing.
Oh, kudos,
But like,
nice.
look how beautiful. You know, the actual book.
Yeah,
is
show
just,
it off
there we
to
go,
our
there we go,
camera
there we
here,
go.
yeah.
The actual book is so beautiful. One of them is like a new pair of socks.
I love
There are so
that.
many tiny little moments that we feel in life. And I think it helps to have pictures. I also think it helps to have short, snippety things. So this isn't a book that you have to read cover to cover. It's something that you can read for 2 minutes a day. And I think it's also a really lovely gift for people that you don't know what to give.
true,
Like
yeah.
teachers, mothers-in-law, that weird Secret Santa where you're supposed to bring something for like 17 different people and you don't know what everyone will like. Because there is something that everyone can find in it.
I love
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I just feel like right now there is somebody at home sitting there going, okay, I need a bit of assistance. I'm in a bit of a bad spot. It is actually a Blue Monday. And maybe I do need those 2 minutes, those 3 seconds, that glimmer to make me feel a little bit better. So where do they begin?
So I think what's super helpful, I have 2 pieces of advice. The one is put down your phone and start noticing. So the things are all around us. They're all around us all the time. It's just that we aren't noticing them. And it can be as minor as someone smiling at you as your cars pass when you're sitting in traffic. Or it can be as minor as like a hug from someone you love, as so many people have said, the light slanting through the trees. And we don't notice these because they're not important. And they're not important, except that if you combine them all together, these tiny micro moments of nervous system regulation, it's a mental health coping method. But it's a mental health coping method that doesn't have anything to your to-do list, doesn't cost anything, you don't have to learn a new skill, you can just open your eyes. So my first advice would be just open your eyes, and often that means putting down your phone. And then my second would be, if you can, start a one good thing a day practice. So my family and I at dinner, we go around the table and everyone talks about one good thing that happened to them that day. And it can be the tiniest possible thing. If you don't eat with people, you can write it down. But it makes you accountable. You know that at the end of the day, you have to say something good that happened. And so throughout the day, you're on the lookout. But I really think like lowering our bar for delight is the way to go.
Oh, this is beautiful. I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for enriching us with these glimmers and reminding us how much we have to celebrate right now. And I think it's a practice that we could do right now. I mean, even for me to say to you, G-Man, I'm grateful for the glimmer that I get to work with someone that is probably the best presenter in our country.
That
the most
part.
experienced, the most talented, the most humble, and someone that I'm absolutely inspired by as a man. That's for you,
Amen.
G.